Did you ever want to know how to have a relationship with your children even as they become adults? Well, we're going to talk about it next in my interview with Nina Sidell. Stay tuned. Hi, George Bruno here, also known as the Sultan of Silver in the hair industry. But I'm talking to somebody in the life-changing industry. I guess our industries are kind of the same. We both change lives. I work with people on the outside. You work with people on the inside.
Absolutely. Different kinds of transformations.
Ooh, I like that. You know, Ted Gibson, one of my favorite stylists, says, people don't pay for a haircut, they pay for a transformation because they can go anywhere for a haircut. And you know, with the counselors, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, life coaches, there's so many out there that people can go to, but yet people choose you. Why do they do that?
Well, first of all, I'm Nina Sidell, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity, George. I work with people around parenting, personal development, relationships, transitions, wellness, and I think people feel safe with me ultimately. I also am an expressive arts therapist, so I utilize traditional and creative approaches to help people find new tools, learn new tools to improve their lives.
Yeah, and one of those tools is your new book. Actually, it's about how old now? A year or two, somewhere in there?
About 2 years now.
But it's been in the works for a long time because, like I said in the first video that we did, this is part 2 of our book chat, that I remember when this was notes and an outline, and to see it come to fruition and help so many people all over the world is amazing. I'm going to put the link below where you can get this book on Amazon, and I'm going to put Nina's website and her Facebook page and all that stuff. So may I introduce to you Nina Sidell.
Pleased to meet you. It's great to be here. Thank you.
We're going to talk more about her book, Parenting for Life, and I want to read the subtitle to this book, which I think is very significant. Consciously creating your lifetime relationship with your child. That's deep. That is deep. Explain that.
Well, the reason that this book is entitled Parenting for Life, and that's why the subtitle is what it is because when we parent, it's from the beginning of our time together with our children to the end of our time together. And therefore, there's an awareness that gets developed in the book and in the way I work with parents in specific that has to do with what can you do to develop the relationship above and beyond all else, and in between, and to support the foundation of helping raise the people that you're caring for.
Children become adult children, and they fly the coop, but parenting isn't over, is it?
It isn't. It changes. And, you know, we have the opportunity when we parent to develop personal growth as well. So personal growth comes through loud and clear in the work that I do, and also in my own experience, in the sense that it is an ongoing journey, and the tools that we learn when our children are young, we may utilize when they're, you know, teens and adult children, and then we also may have to learn new skills and tools to utilize as time elapses.
That just reminded me of something. Learning new things. Can we learn stuff from our children? And what prevents us from learning from our kids?
Oh, I think sometimes life is thrust upon us, and when we're in the chaos of everyday life and also parenting, we can tune in or tune out in terms of what our role is, our purpose as parents, our goals as parents, and also our own self-awareness that we bring to the table. So there's so many opportunities, whether we want them or not, that our children teach us. So we're the teachers of them. They also are the teachers for us. And I don't know that all parents are ready to hear that until they're ready.
You have to have kind of an open mind and lose a lot of pride to think that you can learn something from your children. I think we pour stuff into them, and then we let them fly the coop, so to speak, and then we look at their lives. This is a lot of the average parent, I would say. And then we criticize them. You're not doing it right. And then all of a sudden, one day they turn around and say, yeah, but you... And you're like, oops, I'm busted. And sometimes our kids can call us out on things as well. Can that be a learning experience?
Absolutely. And also, the temperament and personalities of our children, innately who they are, can call us out because we might not always be comfortable with aspects of our children. We might have to deal with aspects of ourselves that we're not comfortable with because it's reflected back like a mirror. And then there are times in which children are experimenting with who they are, and maybe so are we, and therefore there's that mirror that gives us the opportunity to learn and grow.
So is there a possibility that if we don't like something in our own children, we might be seeing us in them and recognizing a personality trait in them that we don't like in ourselves?
Absolutely. People project in every relationship they're in, number one, some more than less. I know in my private practice as a psychotherapist, I also have seen, and in my personal life, other people who also see qualities in their children that perhaps their ex-spouse had in them, and that's also a lesson to be learned in terms of acceptance, forgiveness, and being able to deal with and handle differences in traits that, whether it's a reflection of ourselves or someone else, in order to be present as possible for our children at all ages and stages.
Well, I jokingly, I've heard people say this, and I think I've even said it now, truth be told, is that my children, all their good traits they got from me, all their bad traits they got from my ex, their mom. When the reality is that the children are a combination of traits of both of us.
And also there's learned behavior from their environment, and there's also the natural instinct and tendency of each person apart from their parents. I see children as unique individuals and teenagers and young adults, and they're developing into who they're supposed to be, who they are, and who they're maybe looking forward to becoming, that they're trying hard to embody.
I get that. I totally get that. I'll never forget one time my ex-wife saying to me, she said about my son, I do this thing, I don't know why I do this, it's a very weird trait. While I'm watching TV sometimes, I rub my eyes. I just sit there and just do this. And we had been separated 2 or 3 years, and she had said to me, sometimes when we're watching TV, he sits there and rubs his eyes, and it looks exactly like you. And I'm like, yes. And, and it's interesting because many times our kids might remind us of our exes if we're divorced.
Yeah. And, the other thing with children and young adults, too, is that they might have they live in a different world. They grew up in a different generation. They're exposed to different influences. And, that level of relating is based on where you are and where they are, which may not come together all the time. And I'm glad you mentioned that example. I don't advocate for parents that they look for little mini-me's in their children. I don't think that's healthy or appropriate for children as they grow up, because then they're in the shadow of someone else, or they don't feel they have the permission to shine above and beyond that parent that they look like, they sound like, and maybe they have nuanced little tendencies to express, that they're still unique.
I'm reminded of a woman that I know, divorced, 3 children, and she posted something on Instagram about her 3rd child. She says, finally, I got a child that looks like me.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, I don't like that.
Yeah, so that's her ego speaking. So there, that's a really good point, if I could jump in, and that is, why do you have a child? What's the real underlying reason that you want to become a parent? Why did you want to become a parent before you became one? If you planned that out, or the gift unfolded before you, what was your intention prior to that experience of being the parent? You know, if it's to allow, and I write about this, that, you know, you want someone to embody and to follow through with a lifestyle or a tradition, or you want them to look and sound and act like you, or you always wanted someone who could be a doctor in the family, and this child has a high IQ, so that kid's gonna do that, or follow in my footsteps. Or do you want to mold or enjoy and parent and nurture other human beings that didn't necessarily ask to be here, although there's schools of thought that some people think that maybe we do choose our parents, to really take the time to respect the process of life. Think about when you were a child, this woman when she was a child, you know, do you want to feel that you have permission to fully be yourself? Or is there some message coming through that that's not cool because you're supposed to be that way, or like this one, or like that one?
I like that. We're going to wrap this up right now, and this is part 2. We're going to be going into part 3 real soon. If you want to know more information about the book, Parenting for Life, I'm going to put that link down below. You can order the book. Nina's website will be down below, and also you can contact her through her email, which will be down below.
And I'd like to add, if I could, that in my book, Parenting for Life, I have homework at the end of every chapter. And the reason for that, and I say this with humility because I've been there, done that, is that we have to do the work in life to get to where we want to be, or to create the kind of relationships that we want. And in this case, to create the strongest possible bonds across time with our children requires humility, requires the essence of knowing that we're here to learn too. You know, our children learn, and we can learn through life. And I advocate that for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was profound.
Thank you.
So thanks for joining us. Join us next time. This is George and
Nina Sidell.
peace.
Peace.